Hello, welcome to Thor Talk, the show all about Marvel's resident god of thunder, where I discuss Thor feats, battles, story arcs, villains, and more. On this episode of Thor Talk, we look at Thor number 703, in which Mangog fights all of Asgard, including the unstoppable Destroyer, plus, as Jane's condition worsens, her friends hold an intervention for her. All this and more on Thor Talk.
I am Thor the Thunderer, son of Odin, prince of Asgard. I am an avenger, and this world is under my protection.
Whosoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor.
Thor number 703 was written by Jason Aaron in January of 2018. The story begins with Jane lying in a hospital bed surrounded by Thor, Falcon, Doctor Strange, and Roz Solomon. Thor tells her that she collapsed in Asgardia, so he took her to Earth. Jane begins to protest, but Doctor Strange tells her that this is an intervention to prevent her from killing herself. Thor reassures her that Asgardia will be just fine without her. But in Asgardia, we can see that this is not the case, as Mangog effortlessly fights off Asgard's warriors. Heimdall manages to stab Mangog, but Mangog breaks his sword and cuts out his eyes. Kull orders his men to activate the Bifrost to send Mangog away, but Mangog destroys the Bifrost before they are able to. Kull says that he will find what Mangog loves, and he will kill it. But Mangog says the only thing he has ever loved is breaking gods with his bare hands, and he has much love to give. Back on Earth, we see Jane's intervention continue, as Jane once again refuses any magical cures for her cancer. Strange tells her that a year ago, through treatment, the doctors were certain that her cancer would be healed. However, unexpectedly her treatment stopped working. This was the result of using Mjölnir, which magically purged all chemotherapy from her system. Strange tells her that at this point, if she grabs Mjölnir one more time, she will die. Then, Mjölnir races into the hospital for Jane. Thor stands between the hammer and Jane, knowing that if she gets to it, she will die. Mjölnir magically tells Jane that Mangog is in Asgardia and is wreaking havoc. Freya tells Kull that they need Asgard's strongest weapon to defeat Mangog, so he takes her to the Destroyer armor, which has held Celestials at bay and broken Thor's hammer. Freya takes control of the Destroyer armor and blasts Mangog. Thor continues to try and keep Jane away from her death, but Mjölnir blasts everyone in the room back, and Jane walks over to it. They remind her once again that if she does this, then she will die, as Jane prepares to grasp Mjölnir for one last time. Asgardia is in ruins, as Mangog grabs the Destroyer, saying that while the armor is quite formidable, Freya is still weak, and he tears the Destroyer to pieces. Mangog screams that he is coming for Odin, as the Allfather waits in his throne room, knowing that facing Mangog will mean his death. Jane reaches closer to Mjölnir, but stops, and agrees to leave Mjölnir if they promise to fight the War of Realms without her. Thor chases Mjölnir off, as Odin waits in his throne room, and speaks.
This moment was inevitable.
I have known that for a very long time. Even gods don't live forever. Even Allfathers die. If today is that day, then so be it. Before all the stars and all the heavens I swear that I die without apology, without regrets. Except for one. I wish at long last I could have told my son, my heir, what I truly... It will have to wait, old man. Thor interrupts, saying that right now they have to save Asgard and kill Mangog. Odin asks how they will do that. Thor tells him the same way they do everything, with blood and thunder. Mangog breaks into the throne room and charges them as father and son stand side by side, ready to face this threat, and Jane waits in a hospital bed. So, Mangog certainly wreaked some havoc in Asgardia. It seems that it's left to Asgard's two most powerful warriors to stop him. I also find it ironic that Jane still refuses to magically cure her cancer, but her friends have to hold an intervention for her because she is essentially addicted to magic, and that prevents her from being healed by medicine. I also enjoyed seeing Odin experience a bit of redemption, which he was certainly owed, as he has been inexplicably villainized ever since Fear itself. Sure, he was a bit meddling in the past, but never a full-out antagonist. Ironically, it is Odin who chooses to face certain death in fighting Mangog, while Jane chooses not to confront it. I'll bet with some pushing from her friends, but they've been asking her to stop for months. As Allfather, Odin is probably the only one in Asgardia who has the power to escape, but instead he chooses to face Mangog. Also, in the episode for issue 702, I misspoke saying that this storyline would end in February with issue 704, as it will actually end in March with issue 705, so 2 more months to go, as far as I know. Well, that's all for this episode of Thor Talk. If you want to keep up with Thor Talk and all Thor-related news, follow Thor Talk on Instagram @Thor Talk. You can also keep up with and support Thor Talk by simply subscribing. Once again, I'd like to formally state that all art and videos owned by its respected companies, and I own none of it. With that said, see you next time on Thor Talk, where...
You'll behold in breathless wonder.